as a child, my mom left the village, right? She went to Johannesburg looking for a job.
Okay.
And at that young age, I remember looking at her with a bag, catching a taxi just in front of the house. And that was the last time I saw her.
What?
And she only resurfaced after 20 years.
What?
So even within the 20 years, the family was looking for her and nobody knew where she was. People kept informing us that we saw her there, we saw her at this place, different places. But in actual fact, nobody, it was just, when you're getting stories, but you're just getting leads of her whereabouts.
So who did she leave you with?
She left us with our grandparents.
Okay.
Yeah, she left us with our grandparents, our uncles, and our aunts.
Because
in African families where your grandparents have a home and then it's a family home, your aunts and uncles, cousins, and everybody is living in the same house. So that's how we were living at the time.
Okay. Guys, and welcome back to another edition of the Hope Revolution podcast. My name is Muraro and I am overjoyed to have you. Today we've got something beautiful for you. We've got the first remote guest joining us over the call. We're going to dial her in just in a minute. Very exciting stuff for me. We did tell you that on season 2, we're featuring more and more people to come through to our platform and share their stories with us. So the guest that we have today, her name is Tshego'S, and she's got a very special story to share with us. But before we jump into that, I wanted to just give thanks and really recognize and acknowledge all of you that are liking, sharing, and supporting our platform. It's been an amazing experience being with you guys since from the beginning of this year to where we are now. We are indeed, as of today, 3,000 subscribers, and I am so blown away. I can't believe that we're here. I expected us to be here in such a short space of time. But without wasting any time, let me also reiterate that the purpose of this platform is to give you guys and give anyone the opportunity or the platform to also share story, to also share on their experience, so that we could then assist them or also learn from them. And today we are indeed going to learn. So what we're going to do now, we're going to dial Tshego'S in. I've got my phone in my hand. I'm gonna try and ring her. Let me just also put on my headsets so that when the call goes through, she can then get us. Yeah. Hello. Hey Tshego'S, how are you? I'm okay. Thank you so much for making time. You are through to Hope Revolution TV. I almost said Hope Revolution FM. I don't know where that comes from. But I'm feeling very different today because I'm wearing headsets and yeah, it's coming through as a little bit unusual. How's your day going today?
My day is okay. A bit calm. I'm just at home today. I'm not doing so.
Okay.
It's a plus.
Oh, yeah. Nice. No, that's beautiful. Once again, we really appreciate you taking the opportunity to come to the show and share your story. Maybe can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you? And, what's your background? We can get to know you a little bit more personally.
Okay. So my name is Tshego'S Letwaba.
Okay.
I'm a wife. I've been married for over 10 years. I'm not sure how many years it is now. 12 years. And I'm a mom of one.
Okay.
So I'm a Christian, right? Okay. I'm a Christian. I love God. I try to do good, if I have to mention that. And the other thing about it is that, I always stand on my truth.
Yeah.
And I believe that I'm always, standing or defending the underdog, like people that can't speak for themselves, people that are struggling to, voice their issues. I always find myself in the middle of things that people, that defends other people,
Mm.
be it at work, be it in the community, in the family, or anywhere else.
No,
So yeah, I think that on its own speaks more about who I am.
Yeah.
And I always, look for justice wherever we can find it. So
Yeah.
professionally, I'm a marketer.
Okay.
I'm a marketing and communications manager for a company in the hospitality industry currently.
Okay.
I've previously worked for medical companies, like in the healthcare sector. I've worked in the automotive. I've also worked in the medical and security, one of the medical and security companies.
Okay.
And one of the companies that I also worked for is a facilities company in Rosebank.
Okay.
So essentially, I've tried almost everything and anything wherever that I can find it, but mostly around marketing. So all the jobs that I've done, it's in marketing.
No, that's awesome. So, I think we must invite you to The Threshold, which is a new show we're starting for professionals, where we'll be talking about various issues with the professional space and how to get by as an industry expert. But I'm beyond happy to hear about that. But also what I wanted to know was maybe your background in terms of upbringing and family background as well.
Oh, okay. So my upbringing, I was born in a village in the northwest, in Taung, a village called Taung.
Okay.
So when I was still a little girl, around 7 years or 8, I was moved to a township called Pampirstad, also in the northwest. And I think I went to primary school around there until I was in like standard 5. We were still using the standards, not the grades that are being used today.
It's been a while,
yeah. So I went to school until standard 5 in Pampirstad. And then we moved to Kimberley. I think I was about 13 years when we moved to Kimberley in the Northern Cape.
Okay.
So I went to my middle school, high school there, and until I completed my matric. And after matric, I came to Johannesburg, I think in 19, I'm not sure.
It's been a while.
I came to, it's been a while. So I came to Gauteng, I came to Johannesburg, because I wanted to study further. But I didn't have money. The family couldn't get me to tertiary education level.
Okay.
So I remember at the time we did have a premiums fund that people could use, more something similar to NSFAS.
Okay.
So I got the premiums fund at the time to study. And then unfortunately, I fell pregnant in the first year.
Okay.
And that was a bummer because I was supposed to study with Vets Tech at the time. And after that, because I dropped out before I even started, it was in the first quarter of the year.
Okay.
I then dropped out. I had my baby, and then over the years, that's when I started working now. Okay. And I actually started working very late in my life. I think I was like 29 years when I started working.
Oh, powerful.
There's a permanent job. I'm not talking about, the internships, the learnerships, because yes, again, I did have learnerships before I started working, permanently from government. When we did the census, counting people and the demographic, collating all that information for the census.
Powerful.
I think I did 2 times.
Okay.
And then at some point, I then got a permanent job, and I managed to start my life, you know what I mean? So immediately when I started working permanently, I then decided that I need to study. That's when my studies now, formally, my tertiary education started.
Okay.
And I started with a year certificate just to test myself out to see if I can actually make it.
Yeah.
And it was easy enough. I just cruised through.
Yeah.
It was easy, and I then challenged myself and went on to do a diploma. I registered for a diploma in marketing.
Okay.
With UNISA. And the first year, I remember I was getting distinctions, here and I think 2 or 3 distinctions, and then I'm like, no, this is too easy.
Yeah.
Let me change it to a BCom degree.
Okay. Okay.
So that's when I changed it to a BCom degree. And, even with the work, I then moved to pathology services at Pathcare Laboratory. And I worked there for, I think, 3 years.
Okay.
And then moved on to Empath Laboratory. And then from there, I then moved on to KPMG in Parktown.
Wow.
And from KPMG in Parktown, I then joined International SOS in Midrand. From International SOS in Midrand, I then joined Tshego'S. But talking about my upbringing, right? So I'm the first of the 3 kids for my mother. My mother was a single woman raising 3 kids. Okay. And then as a child, my mom left the village, right? She went to Johannesburg looking for a job. Okay. And at that young age, I remember looking at her with a bag, catching a taxi just in front of the house. And that was the last time I saw her. What? And she only resurfaced after 20 years.
What?
So even within the 20 years, the family was looking for her and nobody knew where she was. People kept informing us that we saw her there, we saw her at this place, different places. But in actual fact, nobody, it was just, when you're getting stories, but you're just getting leads of her whereabouts.
So who did she leave you with?
She left us with our grandparents.
Okay.
Yeah, she left us with our grandparents, our uncles, and our aunts.
Yeah,
because in African families where your grandparents have a home and then it's a family home, your aunts and uncles, cousins, and everybody is living in the same house. So that's how we were living at the time.
Okay.
And during that time, before I started school, before I even went to primary, that was my existence. I was living with everybody in the same household. And just before I turned 8, one of my uncles and my aunt, my uncle was married at the time. He's the one that was living in a township close by. Okay. So they decided to take me in, So that's where my primary schooling started. I lived with them. I was raised with their kids the same way as like I was part of the family. Okay. Going back to my, I remember even when they took me in, I was already baptized as a child. I don't remember that part. Okay. But moving to their side of the family, because they were Anglicans and I was coming from a Roman Catholic background, I then decided to get baptized again. Okay. Because I wanted to feel like part of the family. I wanted everything about me to be the same as them.
Yeah, you wanted a sense of belonging.
So, a sense of belonging. So I got baptized the second time there, and that upbringing it had its own ups and downs like any other family. Okay. When you are being brought up and a dad, and sometimes you're not doing the right things as kids, you get smacked here and there. Yeah. And then other times it's all fun and games. We're going on picnics, we're going on road trips to KZN because my aunt was from KZN.
Okay. I think you were very fortunate in the perspective that you would then find a family that would embrace you and, not treat you any different. You would be a child in that household, regardless of how they would treat you. Mom,
Okay.
your mother,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That for me is just the biggest question mark in my mind. When she resurfaces, how's the discussion? What happens?
Oh my God. So with my mom, I think she was a troubled soul. She's no longer with us. She passed on.
Also sorry to hear that.
I think she was a troubled soul because she had me at the age of 17.
Okay.
And she had my brother, I think, at the age of 20.
Okay.
And then my youngest brother at the age of 22. So you can imagine being that young at the age of 22 with 3 kids. Not married, not working, right? So when she resurfaced after 20 years, I remember at the time when I got the call, I was already in Joburg.
Okay.
So how it happened is that one day, me and my friends, because I was staying with my friend in one of the flats in Johannesburg CBD at the time.
Okay.
I remember we were just, because I was also looking for a job at the time. I wasn't working, I wasn't studying. So one day we just decided that, listen, I was the one that came with the suggestion. I'm like, guys, let's go to church.
Okay.
It was midweek, right? I'm like, there's a church around the block that has services every day, all hours of the day. Let's go to church. So that was Universal Church at the time.
Okay.
So we went to that service, we attended the service, and I remember they did an altar call saying that if you've got any issues or maybe a prayer request, just come forward and we will pray for you. And I did that.
Okay.
And in my head, I was just thinking about my mom. Like, why don't I just bump into her somewhere in Johannesburg, Because as a child, we all want to have our parents next to us. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I went there and a very young pastor prayed over me. And I remember he said, do you have anything that belongs to your mom that you can bring back, so that we can pray over?
Okay.
And I thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I actually have a photo that I always have with me.
Okay.
So I came back the next day. I brought the photo. They prayed over the photo, and you know when the Bible says that you only need a faith as small as a mustard seed.
Yes.
I had that.
Okay.
I was like, I'm believing that whatever these prayers are gonna be, they're gonna bring back my mom. So I took the photo there. They prayed over it. And to tell you that a week later or a few days later, I'm not sure how long it was, but it was very short.
Okay.
I think it was a week or maybe 2 weeks later. I got a call from one of my cousins saying that you need to come home, you need to come. The phone call was so urgent, right? There was a sense of urgency around it, like, you need to come home. I'm like, what's wrong? What's happening? And at the time, when I got that call, I remember I was thinking about my grandmother because I was very close to her.
Okay.
I was like, is she okay? Is everything okay? Is Papa okay? When I say Papa, I'm talking about the man that represented a grandfather figure in my life.
Okay.
So I was like, is Ma and Papa okay? And then they said, yeah, they are okay, but you need to come home. There's something that happened that you need to see. And in my head, I was like, no, it doesn't sound okay. I'm like, are you guys tricking me to come home?
Yeah.
But I didn't understand because I used to go home like every now and again. So there wasn't any reason why they needed to trick me. So my cousin said, no, you need to come home. And then I'm like, okay, I'll come on Friday.
Okay.
On Friday, I took a train. At that time, we used to have long distance trains that were, traveling between all cities and towns and villages and all those places. So I took a train back home. And I remember when I got home in the next morning, I arrived the next morning on a Saturday.
Okay.
Took a local taxi there, and sorry about that.
No problem.
I took a local taxi and I went home. It landed it dropped me off just in front of our house. And immediately I saw this lady busy cleaning stoop, right? And that instinct, that thing, I don't know how to describe it, but it was so instant because looking at her, I immediately knew that she was my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I approached her. Yeah, I approached her and she looked at me and she smiled. First thing that I saw when I looked at her, she smiled And I greeted her and I went inside the house, and the whole family now sat us down to introduce us to herself. Like, this is your mom, and telling my mom that I'm her daughter and all of those things. So from that first encounter with her, now I'm older. She left us, I think when she left, I was about 6 years old.
Okay.
And my younger brother was about 4, and the youngest one was 6 months old or something like that. He was just a few months old when she left. So I remember when I had the discussion with her, because the one thing that I needed to know from her was why.
Yes.
Why did you leave us? You are our mother. We needed a mother. I wasn't even worried about the dad or our father. I just wanted a mother in my life.
Yes.
So every time, Lalo, I can tell you for free that every time when I raised that question, she would just break down and cry. She didn't want to have a conversation. Even when I asked her, where have you been? How was your life where you were? Didn't you think about us? Didn't you, miss us or something? She just didn't want to talk about it. And it got to a point where I just gave up, because I kept pushing and pushing and pushing to have that conversation, but she wasn't coming on board.
Yeah.
So even with the other family members, I kept asking them, what happened? What happened that year when she left?
Yeah.
Did she get into trouble, or was she beaten up, or did she have an argument? Or was there any type of abuse? I wanted something. I wanted somebody to say something to me. But nobody said anything.
Wow.
Every time when I asked questions, I didn't get answers. So
up until this day.
At some point, up until this day, nobody's saying anything.
Wow.
Nobody's saying anything. My grandmother and my granddad passed on. My aunt and my uncle who raised me passed on as well. I just buried who I call my mother. And that's my aunt, the one that raised me.
Okay.
I just buried her about 2 weeks ago.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. So nobody ever said anything when I asked these questions. And to be honest with you, the one person that I actually wanted answers from was my mother.
Okay.
She's the one that I wanted her to tell me that, okay, maybe I was having, a tough time, people were judging me or something, but she wasn't saying at all.
Yeah.
So
other than that, how was your relationship with her, aside from the fact that there's certain things that she didn't want to open up on? Did you guys have a healthy, fruitful relationship?
The first stages when she came back, right? I remember how happy I was to have her back in my life. That was the first response that I had. But then over time, because I saw this broken woman, right? She was so broken to a point that when she came back, she only had a small bag with a few clothing items in it and nothing to her name. So her, where she's been, how her life had been, and not having the answers, I think that's when the frustration and the anger came up.
Okay.
Because I was like, this person disappeared for 2 decades. She's not saying anything. She's not explaining, not even explaining, but just sharing her journey, her struggles, so that I can understand. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because I wasn't there. I needed closure, and I wasn't there to judge. So, because in my head, I had already did the calculation, like, you're getting your first child at 17, the second one at 20, the third one at 22. Obviously, there was something happening here.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to judge her at all. But then I felt somebody
needs to just.
Yeah, so at some point I I just felt like, okay, so she's not going to talk about it. Let me put it aside. But then I started getting angry.
Okay.
And me getting angry about it is that I was seeing a different person than I expected.
Okay.
She had issues with alcohol, and she would act a certain way every time she was drunk.
Okay.
And at that point, I was just defeated. I was like, okay, this lady came back into our lives, and instead of her being a mom and pulling her socks up, pulling yourself together,
yes,
and trying to do better, she was just there, So I was now being the mom to her. So at that time, I was working. I ended up getting a permanent job, and I became the mom to her, to my brothers, and my child. And then at some point, she wasn't talking to me, and I didn't understand why she wasn't talking to me. And every time these things happened, I'm the one who's doing the reaching out to say, let's have a conversation. What is going on?
Yeah.
Did somebody say something to you that's making you behave this way? And she didn't want to talk. So she didn't like being, she didn't want to talk about anything.
Yeah.
And I think with me, because I'm that person that wants to iron things immediately, when something happens, I want to address it immediately, or maybe give you a day or two to calm down.
Yeah.
And then let's have a conversation about it. But she didn't want to have that.
She didn't want to do that. Yeah.
So she didn't want to do any of that at all.
Yes.
So the reason why I'm saying that it's that when I got married, right? I went to a point of inviting her and sitting her down and telling her that, listen, I'm getting married, and I'm getting married to the father of my child, and this is the decision that we made, and we thought that we should tell, our elders, and you should be part of the family party that's going to be sitting down and having the lobola negotiations.
Okay.
She came, but she wasn't involved because she was too drunk.
Oh my.
During the lobola negotiation, right?
God. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah, she was just in her own space.
Okay.
It didn't worry me that much because my mom, who raised me up, who is my aunt, was there, and she was representing me. And to be honest with you, she's the one that I was looking up to.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I didn't want my biological mother to feel left out.
Okay.
No,
makes sense.
So that's why I brought her. Yeah.
Makes sense. Because I'm thinking that you wanted to have her present, but I guess she was suppressing a lot of things, hence the alcohol, and maybe she didn't want to open up the wounds that she had been hiding. I guess coming back to you guys was a way to hide it is that would have happened where she was. But I think God graced you with the perspective of meeting her again and having that picture of, the image of the person who is your mom, and getting to know the little that you got to know about her, and just spending that time with her. I think it was quite a blessing, because a lot of people don't have that opportunity where they can be able to go through to, their parents or members of their relatives who they have never seen or seen a long time ago. Some of them don't get that opportunity, but I think in your respect, God has been graceful, because even though you don't have the closure you want, you at least have a certain percentage in your, and at least 35% in your, you've got a little bit of that,
No, definitely, because I think it would have tormented me even worse if she had died somewhere else. Instead of being with us at her last days on this earth.
No, that's
because after now getting married, on the day, like a week before I got married, I remember I bought her some clothing items. When you're preparing for your wedding, you want to check, will people be, are they going to be presentable? Everybody needs to look nice.
Yeah.
So I bought her a few clothing items, shoes, and everything that I think she would have needed for the wedding. only for her not to pitch for my wedding day.
I'm sorry to laugh, eh? I'm sorry to laugh.
Yeah,
But
no.
it's one thing after the other, eh?
Yeah, she was a handful. My mom was a handful.
Wow.
She didn't pitch. She didn't come to my wedding. Remember, my dad, even over the years, because I've been talking about my mom a lot. So with my dad, growing up, I never knew him as well.
Okay.
I had to go out and search for him, only to find out that he lived a few houses from where I stayed, and because I have one of my favorite uncles. You know those uncles that are for they always say things around people, and they and something slips accidentally, but it's not accidental.
Yes.
So my favorite uncle then one day said that, hey, Papa, how mang. Am I allowed to say names here? I don't know.
You can.
So my uncle was like, hey, Papa, how Soli. And I looked at him, I'm like, Soli who? And then I looked at him, I'm like, no, it can't be, because I grew up knowing about somebody else.
Okay.
That guy, I was thinking about that man that picked up my mom years ago with a taxi.
Okay.
I still remember the color of the taxi, even today. I'm like, isn't that guy no. That man, I see him.
Yeah.
Your father, Kisoli.
Yeah.
Do you know how I sprinted to his house immediately after hearing that? I went to his and I knocked on the door. I remember I found my paternal grandmother there, and the aunts. They were in the sitting room, and I introduced myself. I just greeted them and I introduced myself. And they're like, we know who you are.
Wow.
And I looked at them and I'm like, huh? And Barry, no, I could just sit down, welcome home.
Hey, man.
Oh, okay.
Until too late all this time. Limpona.
Exactly. And I'm like, why were they quiet all these years? That time in high school, I'm doing matric.
Wow.
Or I was in grade 11.
Hey, man, no, it's mara, but and
they've got secrets for days, I'm telling you.
And you're probably passing that house every now and then as a kid.
Every day, let me tell you.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, okay, so and then why
and do the right thing.
Invited me to come and visit you or something, or say something.
Yes.
And it was just any little vibes in it. Like nobody was saying anything. They were just looking at each other, brushing me off. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, Papa, okay, can one of you call him and let him know where I was here? And then they did call him, and very quick, he was there.
Okay.
And that's the thing about my dad, because the minute he found out that I knew, he never left me.
Okay.
No. He never left me. And the thing about him is that he explained things. He said that, you know what, I've always wanted to be in your life, but your family didn't want me to be in your life.
Okay.
Because they treated me somehow. Right person for your mother and in.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
Because there are families that can actually want to determine who you need to date.
Yeah.
Is this person good enough for you or not? And so that happened to him.
Okay.
So no, actually, Mina, I wanted to be in your life, and I'm happy that you found me, and I knew that you're gonna find me. I knew.
Wow.
And my dad was that person who always spoke about the intelligence of his kids. I knew you're going to find me.
Yeah. So he was probably there at your wedding.
He was at my wedding. He came with his wife.
Okay.
And my sister from his side.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, it's my sister, my stepsister, and her husband, and the other family members from the wife's side.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, they came, they supported me, and
Beautiful.
it was so beautiful. And I remember even on my wedding, that I want my dad to walk me down the aisle. I want him to hand me over to, but then the uncles like, no, he wasn't there.
Politics.
Everybody these family politics, and I'm like, okay, let me not put him in that position.
Okay.
But he was there. He was. My wedding photos, he's there.
Oh, nice. That's
and
beautiful.
he was there until the very end when he passed on COVID-19. I think it was 2020.
Okay.
He passed on 2020 COVID.
Okay.
So, but we
kept
the relationship. Yeah, we kept the relationship going, and I had a very good relationship with my dad. Even though I wasn't living in the same house with him, he was married. He had his own family there. But even as the kids that he had before he got married, he kept the relationship going. You know what I mean?
With all of you.
Yeah, with all of us. With all of us. My dad had, I remember when I was counting at some point, I had counted over 20 kids.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Hey, but never man. No,
they were busy. Back in the day. Yeah, no, back in the day, having more kids was the thing. A man's richness and wealth was looked at by the number of kids that you have.
True.
So my dad did the thing.
No.
I remember a conversation.
Yeah,
I remember a conversation that I once had with both my mom and dad, which was a very special moment because it happened where I had the two of them together in front of me.
Okay.
And I asked my mom, okay, tell me about your relationship with my dad. What made you fall in love with him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I fell in love with him because. And at that point, when I was talking to her, she was doing that thing where your head goes sideways.
She was blushing.
She was blushing. The leg was going up. And hey, Miguel, control yourself.
Yes.
And she was like, no, Papa narata jive. So that's why I fell in love with him. Narata jive, and that's what made you fall in love with him and have a child with him. But that's a temporary thing. When I want to know what guy, he's an old guy. He can't. Yeah, but I'm just telling you about the days when we were young. And so, and then I asked my dad, why did you have kids in the same area? Because my eldest sister, the firstborn, was staying just a few houses down from where my mom used to stay.
Okay.
And then the second born on the other side, not far. It took like 3 minutes to go to each house.
Okay.
And then it was me.
Wow.
Right? In the same area. So I had to ask them, what were you guys doing? Because and then the next one came and then Yaban. So why would you do that to these girls? And my dad, you're not supposed to ask those type of questions. So those were the funny things the funny conversations that I had with my parents.
Yeah. No, I feel like
it was their time.
Yeah, it was a very rich experience that you had. And I feel that God gave you dad so that you could have, biological parent present, because even when you've got parents that are there and they're your guardian here for you and they're absolute angels, right? Those people never quite fill the spaces up who brings you into the world. Spaces which is also very special. Discount.
Yes.
I think you were blessed to have encounter with both of them, and I think wherever you go, to have that is just a blessing which you can't quantify. You can't quantify that. So I'm really happy for you. It's a really for me it's a happy ending.
It's a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful journey on its own.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep telling people that I count myself one of the most blessed people ever in the world, for the fact that I had four parents.
Yeah.
Yes, the other two were not there in my early years.
Yeah.
But as I was growing older, I had with, my biological parents and the parents that brought me,
Yeah, true.
which is a blessing on its own.
True.
And then getting married, and then I had another set of parents.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
yes.
it's a beautiful life, and having to lose them, again, it's another story.
Yeah.
It's got its own trauma, it's got its own pain.
Yeah.
But over and above that is the beauty of their experienced lives with me, the teachings that I got from each one of them.
Yeah.
And, because everything, whatever that they did, in whichever way that they did it, shaped the person that I am today.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm forever indebted to each one of them, irrespective of the shortfalls, like where they failed or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I'm taking mistakes as well as the good that they did and trying to shape my life and the parent that I am today, and how I want my kid to be raised and my grandkids to be raised and so forth.
No, that's true.
So, yeah.
What can you, because the main thing that I feel, maybe as you're saying that when you did the maths, you found that your mom was basically struggling to come to terms with her responsibilities at the time. What can you advise young parents that are in the same space? If you were an elder or your mom's friend that day when she decided to pick up and leave you, what is it that you would have told her? What would you have told her to stop her from going away or making that decision to leave it? I mean, there's someone who's sitting somewhere right now who's thinking of taking their lives, not even running away, because they're in that situation and they don't know how to handle it. So what can you tell these people that are in that same space, having been a child that experienced the absence of your mother?
That's a very good question. I would say, I would actually use something that one of my friends said to me at some point in life. I remember I was going through a tough time at some point in my life, and a lady that I was working with, she was older than me, but we were friends. So one day she told me that, you know what, don't give up on your life, no matter what is happening. Because for as long as you have breath in you, then it means that God still has a plan. And there is a chance, there is an opportunity for everything to turn around and be better. So even with my mother, I would have told her the same thing, that, you know what, it doesn't matter that you are struggling today. It doesn't matter that you see that maybe you don't have a way out and you don't know how to provide or what to do with the 3 kids that you have and the unemployment that you find yourself in. But just remember that for as long as you're still alive, you stand a chance of doing something better, or maybe dreaming enough to reach something tomorrow. And God being God, He's able to change our situation. And I live by that as well today, because it doesn't matter. We know whether the current situation is in South Africa. There's a lot of unemployment. The economy is not doing well. And that goes even for people that are working. We are struggling, right? But we live with hope to say that, you know what, yes, today it's like this, and maybe we might go through the same struggle the whole year. But what about next year? What if 2016 comes and we're still alive and things turn around for us, as a country, as people?
I totally agree with what you're saying. Sorry to cut you before and I lose my chain of thought. The one thing that I found to be very special about having faith and believing in the presence of God is the fact that when you run out of purpose, God still has His plan for you. Right? So whenever you don't see yourself featuring somewhere, that's when you must just fold your hands and wait for God to do His thing. right?
And wait on him.
Yes, and I feel that
Mm.
by you saying that, you just said something to me now where you were like, sometimes we feel like, there's not much that we can do in the space and we want to pack up and leave. But being people of faith, it's always advisable to stay in the faith and say, God, this is because God looks for those opportunities. He shows himself in your highest moment of weakness. That's where you will see God most. When you don't have a plan, that's when he comes in and he gives you the plan. It's just that many of us are so dependent on ourselves. When our plans fail, it all falls apart because we're not expecting anything else. So
yes, true.
Yeah, there's power in what you're saying.
And thank you for that. And the thing about it, Mulalone, the thing about God is that he will not reveal the whole picture to you.
True.
That's why the Bible says that God will reveal things in part, right? He will give you a dream. He will give you a vision.
Yeah.
But as to how the vision is going to unfold, sometimes it's a bit sketchy, right? But then when it happens, when you find yourself living the vision, you look back and you realize, oh, I remember, right?
Yeah.
I remember that thing that I had, that dream that I had, that vision that I had. And here I am today and I'm living in it because God carried me through.
That's very true.
And the reason why I'm saying this, I remember when you asked me a question earlier saying that, tell us a little bit about how you were, about your upbringing, how you grew up.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm now remembering something. I told you that we were 3 siblings, right, from my mother's side.
Yeah.
I'm the eldest, so my middle brother, I remember one day he left with another family, like one of our cousins, one of my aunts. And one day I was at my grandmother's house and my other cousin came running, dashing through the door, calling me out. It looked speedy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening? And I ran after her, not even understanding where I'm being called to, but I just ran after her. And she took me to a house that was half built, right? It was just the wall structure, no roof, no floor, no flooring, no windows. It was just the window frames, right?
Okay.
And I keep this person taking me to this place. I mean, nobody lives here. This house is still being built.
Yeah.
It was one of my uncle's houses.
Okay.
And I approached, and when I went in, my brother was sleeping on the floor.
Aibo.
And I remember I said, oh, what's happening? Why Orobetimu? And he relayed a story that, no, we had an argument last night with one of our cousins. You know those squabbles that young kids have.
Yes.
So they had that argument, and my younger brother, because he's that quiet person, we too much. He's a very sweet person, right?
Yeah.
So and then he left the house and came to that half-built house and slept there the whole night.
Oh my.
So Ron being my grandparents' house, Yana is sleeping in this open shell of a house.
Ish.
And I remember, explicitly, I remember saying to him, Gary, don't worry, don't worry. One day, I know at this point I'm not working and I'm still in school. I was in matric at the time.
Okay.
I'm like, don't worry. I know that I'm not working and I don't have anything to my name. But one day, God is going to provide. I'm going to get my education and I'm going to get a job and I will build a house for us.
Yeah. Wow.
In that moment, remember, my mother was not there. It was before she came back.
Okay.
So I'm like, one day I'm going to build a house. And with my small mind, I create in that, I'm still in a village. I haven't traveled to any township. I haven't traveled to any city. I haven't traveled nothing.
Yeah.
I don't have any exposure of the world.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I told him, and I'll build a 4-roomed house, and then when the youngest one,
Yeah.
when you'll share a bedroom, and then kitchen, sitting room, don't worry. We'll be okay. One day we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
We're not gonna struggle like this. So.
Yeah. Wow.
And he looked at me. I remember even talking to you right now. I can still see that face that he gave me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that face. I believe you, and I put my trust in what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
Right. And to tell you that today, I've got my own house. I'm married, and I left him in my other house back in Kimberley.
Wow.
With 2 bedrooms upstairs, a sitting room, and kitchen downstairs with a bathroom.
Oh, that's so nice.
With his wife and kids.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yes. God.
Wow. God is God is faithful. God is trustworthy.
God is faithful. And today I live in a house, like, I don't know how many rooms this house has. I think live in. And I left my family in a house back home as well. So that dream, that thing that I said in that moment, manifested.
It came to
and
pass.
God provided. It came to pass, and God provided even more than I actually imagined.
Wow.
Way more.
I think this is so amazing, and it's good that you are a person of faith, because then you recognize God's presence and you see him.
Recognize God's hands, yeah,
and you see him in the legal traces, and also maybe sometimes not even illegal, in the massive amounts of evidence that he gives.
The small and the big things, he is there.
Yeah, because
the footprints are there.
Yeah, you basically stand to be a person who changes the trajectory of anyone who comes after you. Even those that came with you will change because of your presence. And I wish that most of us would then, align with your example to say that with me must change, make changes that will be able to support those that. Yes, we know life is difficult, but one way or the other, we must be examples. I mean, we're not always going to have money, yes, but what example are we living? What sort of story, what message are we sending where? Tshego, I feel like this story is quite deep and it's so special. I don't know, there's someone who is you as a young girl out there listening to this, right? And they're in your position where and at that point in time you are young. Remember when at your young tender age you knew so in space, talk to that lady, talk to that young girl or that young boy who still feels that their tomorrow is bleak, it's doomed, it's dark, and they are in that specific space where you were. What would you say to your younger version of yourself?
Version of myself, I remember the nights that I went to bed crying, right? I was crying like every single night. For me to fall asleep, I had to cry first because of the pain, because of the experiences that I was in at the moment, right? But then the one thing, conversations that I had with God every single night, asking God questions. Why am I here? Why am I still alive? Why are you not taking me and take me out of my misery, right? But then every time that silent voice, I remember how I kept, hearing the silent voice that, I've got your back. Everything's going to be fine. Wow. Everything's going to be fine. And in my head, I kept thinking, am I crazy? Am I going crazy?
Yeah.
Who is this person talking to me?
Yeah.
Who is this voice? Why am I hearing this? And why can't I see this better thing that is right?
Yeah.
But then once again, talking to my younger self, I would then say, with God, there is no mistake. With God, there is no regret. God doesn't work in confusion. He doesn't work in He doesn't neglect us.
Yeah,
Let
true.
me just say that.
That's true.
So for as long as you are there, He is working with you. He will make things right. He will make a way, even where there seems to be no way.
Yeah.
And who He's going to use, it's people that you will never, ever imagine they'll be there to help you.
Powerful.
So, Mina, with everything that I do and everything that I say, my pure existence, it's based on the provision of God.
Okay.
In the presence of God.
Okay.
I believe that if it wasn't of God, I wouldn't be here, to be honest with you. I wouldn't have anything that I have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have survived this long if it wasn't of God. So I believe that the word that God says that I knew you before I created you in your mother's womb. And I have the plans that I have for you are of good and not of evil. So if He knew you before He created you in your mother's, He already knows the plan that He laid out for your life.
No, that's true.
So what He requires from us is just to have faith and to trust in Him.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about the details. We don't need to worry about what the plan is, the unfolding of the plan, because He will walk us through it, and He will bring people, if need be, to walk you through that process.
Yeah.
And get you to your expected end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, thank you so much. That is powerful. And thank you so much for sharing that message. I really, your story stands to be, I'll call it biblical, right? In the perspective that sometimes for God's grace to be seen, you need to be stripped naked like Job, right?
Yes.
Not have anything and not be anyone, just so that God will raise you again for His glory to be seen, right? And He doesn't. The funny thing about it is that if your story did not have so much essence, so much nutrients, so many lessons, it wouldn't be where you are now. Would not be worth it. For me personally, you'd just be another lady who just has, the stuff that she had. Nothing, no story, nothing special about you. But now, what makes you very special to me is the fact that your story is biblical. You came from a point where you were literally Job, right? And it's better because Job knew what he had before he lost it. You came from a point of nothingness, and the nothing, the nothing. The nothing which
the nakedness that I came to this world with.
Exactly.
It is the naked.
God's grace carried you to that family, carried you to your grandparents, carried you to each and every different company that you worked in, and your story honestly is biblical. This is one of the most richest stories that I have come through ever since I started doing this. I have never heard of a story that has as much depth as yours. And I really commend you. You must keep sharing, keep telling people where you come from, because as people who are very passive, I see your car and that's all you are to me. I don't see where you came from. I don't see how you got it. I don't see why you needed to drive that specific one. But wherever you get the opportunity, go back where you come from. Tell other children, because the challenge mostly is because of the communities that we grow up in. There are children that are literally you. The whole thing is repeating itself where you come from. And you need to go back there and, dig other children out, because you must continue spreading your story so that someone else doesn't fall into a different pit because they don't have what you have. Wawan?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You know what? God bless you, because listening to you talking right now, I know for a fact that God is speaking through you.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because you are not the first person to say that. It's like God is repeatedly saying the same thing over and over again to me.
Powerful.
And last year, I remember how loudly I heard God talking to me, that talking to people, start releasing the message. And I kept saying, "No, God, I'm not ready. I don't want to be criticized. I don't want to be judged." Social media is brutal, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, once people see maybe me speaking, and then I get more people listening or engaging with my content, I get attacked. I was just looking at, that scripture about Moses, where Moses was like, "No, I don't think I'm good enough to go and rescue your people.
Yeah.
I'm not the right man."
Yeah.
I was in that season. I was like, no, it can't be me. I don't want to put myself in that position.
Yeah.
But to tell you that even last week, I had a meeting at work with 2 young ladies, not last week, Monday.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with 2 young ladies, and we're talking about business, and the conversation went the other way, right?
Okay.
Where they ended up saying that, but Tshego, your story, things that you are sharing with us right now, you need to tell your story. You need to speak to more people. You need to go out there and start,
That's true.
Because we believe that a lot of people, you're going to build a lot of people with your story. Your history is too rich to be hidden from people.
True. True. And the literal person you are, you are ripe as a fruit that God literally nurtured, right? Not just the story, but the person that you are, you could bring a lot of light to a lot of people because of who you are. Yes, your story has got strong essence, but also the person that you are, as you narrate it just tells me of the kind of resilience you had in a very short space of time. You mentioned so many companies that you moved from, the resilience that you have, and to not be afraid of facing change and facing new things. These are all lessons that you would have collected, which I feel could benefit a girl, could benefit a boy. Let's go back there where you come from. Let's choose a girl and say, can we just support her and cover all her fees for the year, right? Whatever she needs, if it has to do with school, let's cover that. And let's just push through the year. Next year or what happens. That would need our help, let's go in and assist, but also let's spread the message. I think your story is very, very deep, but I'm very grateful to have had you here. And you're the first remote guest that we have had on the channel with purpose and reason, because this is a perfect way to start this new season, because I think this is a jam-packed episode. If you missed this, guys, you've missed out for sure.
The thing about, you mentioned the companies that I worked for, right?
Okay.
I just wanted to include I remember visiting Bloemfontein while I was still in Kimberley, and walking down Mandela Drive, I believe is the name of the street, and seeing KPMG company. And I remember one other day I was just paging through a newspaper, KPMG again. And the name kept ringing in my head. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to work for this company. And I saw beautiful things about the business itself. And then one day I had a chat with my HOD, and I'm like, you know what? I know that I'm a data capturer now, but I think I need to go into marketing. I need to go in. No, at the time, I wanted to go into sales. And she said, Tshego, you know what? That's your calling. You need to go into sales. Because the thing about you is that I've noticed that you have a way of getting whatever that you want. When you speak something, you make sure that you get it. So you will be able to go into a sales space and be able to sell whatever that you want to sell. Right? That's what she said. But then when I registered with the university to study and, applying for work, I then took the marketing route, right? This the handle called Read a Book SA. That handle belonged to Tebogo Ditshego. Right? He's a media mogul now, I believe. So that year he just started that handle where he was encouraging people to read one book at least a month, right? So I was talking about one of the books that I was reading at the time. And there was this one lady that kept asking questions and questions and questions what I was saying. Right? And then at some point, I looked at her bio and only to find out that she was the head of people for KPMG.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So at some point, I just inboxed her and I'm like, hi, such and such. Her name was Tanti Fubu.
Okay.
I said, hi, Tanti, I hope you're good. I just wanted to find out if you've got a position for me there. I want to go into the marketing space, right? That lady responded instantly, send your CV.
Wow.
And I sent my CV. How it went quickly, right? They reviewed my CV and I was invited for an interview. And quickly the next day, an interview happened. I had to do an online assessment, did an online assessment. The following week, I was invited to come to Johannesburg because I was in Kimberley at the time.
Okay.
I came to Johannesburg. And before I came, they asked me, one of the HR coordinators called me and said, how are you going to come to Johannesburg? And and I'm like, no, I'm going to catch a taxi or a bus.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, just send us your ID and we organize a flight for you.
Wow. Nice.
First flight.
Imagine.
That was my first flight out of the many that I had.
Yeah.
And I took a flight on Monday, came to Johannesburg in the morning, it was called an interview with the team, but it ended up just being an introduction and joining one of the meetings with the team.
Oh, nice.
Literally, like, I'm part of the team already, right?
Wow.
And then in the afternoon, I had to go back to the airport, to OR Tambo Airport, to catch my flight back to Kimberley. While I was waiting for the flight, I got a call to say that the job is yours. That's how I got to KPMG.
Oh, wow.
So to show you that it started with my visit to Bloemfontein, seeing the KPMG office, and consistently, my eyes just seeing KPMG everywhere, in the newspaper, everywhere.
Yeah.
I was just...
Yeah.
Right.
And God would be sending you cues to say, this is your next step. This is your next stage. This is your next direction. These are the coordinates to your next destination. I've got you covered. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And every time you forget, you're like, nah, man.
You see it again, he brings it forward. He brings it forward. And the thing about it, my journey to KPMG it wasn't just about the job. I ended up being one of the key people that were driving an initiative to have a prayer room for Christians at KPMG.
Imagine.
And it happened before I left.
Oh, that's powerful.
I drove it and we got it. And after that assignment, I was like, okay, God, I see now. I've done my job. Now let's go on another journey.
Yeah.
So me moving to different companies, there's always something for me there. I'm not just going there for getting a job and getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah, there's purpose.
So, there's purpose around it.
Wow. No, I'm beyond inspired by your story. I feel like, even you being here today. By the way, guys, Tshego was initially here to share another title, like that one we're gonna go into in a bit. So this one will be part 2. So because this is already an hour long, we're gonna cut it here. Then we're going to come back with part 2, where Tshego talks about an incident that happened to her. But I also feel like there's a lot of essence and a great lessons to be learned in that specific episode that we're going to bring through to you guys. But for now, I'd like to give you a mega thumbs up, Tshego. I'm very, very proud of the person you are. And I guess everyone around you as well sees the kind of person and the spirit that you have. That is God sent. Your story once again is that's my key reference to your story. It's biblical. It's like someone up in the clouds is sitting with a pen just writing, or Tshego, this is so I'm really happy, guys. Thank you so much for watching this specific episode. I am really, really super happy to have had you from the beginning up until now where we are. It's been an amazing experience, and stay tuned for part 2. And I'm really happy about this remote thing that we're doing. We're going to try and see if we can get video into it, just to try and see if we can then be able to, capture that as an input on the actual, you have been awesome. Like, I am so proud of all of you. I'm sure where you're sitting, you've all been able to gather something, one or two things from, these episodes that we are pushing from the Hope Revolution. This is Mraro, your host for the day. I am super happy to have been with you. I will catch you on the next one with Tshego'S. Guys, keep it real. See you on the next one. Cheers.